Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about Black Myth Wukong. Now, we've talked about this game quite a bit in the past as it's been shrouded in controversy after controversy. Anyways, here the game just released to an absolutely smashing success. Right now on Steam, it's got an overwhelmingly positive review with over 55,000 reviews. Furthermore, tracking the amount of people currently playing games on Steam, and Black Myth Wukong is sitting in number 1 by a wide margin. This game right now is more popular than Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, and The Mighty Banana. In fact, for the all-time peak, it's currently sitting in 4th overall, which is extremely impressive. I mean, it's behind PUBG, Palworld, Counter-Strike 2, and well, there we've got Black Myth Wukong. It is ahead of stuff like Elden Ring, Dota 2, and Lost Ark, and even more. This is very impressive for a game that has been very controversial. So let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Do you think the marketing surrounding this game, both good and bad, helped propel it to this status? I'm very curious to see what the overall thoughts are. If you've played Black Myth Wukong, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below as well. Next up, we're talking about PS1 emulation with Duckstation, and Duckstation just got a brand new update. Now, Duckstation is on a rolling release schedule. It gets updated quite frequently, and the development team is very active. The latest update here is not for Android. Android has not been updated since January, at least to my knowledge, both on Google Play and the APK directly from their website. Anyways, here we've got a bunch of bug fixes, optimizations, and improvements. It is available on GitHub for a bunch of different operating systems. Again, just not Android. But moving on, and next up, we're talking about a brand new indie game in development for the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis. This one is called Driftin. We have talked about this one in the past, and the developer has just shared some more updated gameplay. Although the developer has shared there's still a lot of work left to do, the game in this state currently, in my opinion, looks really good. I mean, there's motorcycles, there's cars, there's a bunch of different tracks, a bunch of different drivers, and the graphics on this one look pretty crisp. Next up, we're talking about a ROM hack for Toejame and Earl, and Billy Time Games says Toejame and Earl Funkotronic remix is here, new and crazy ways to play. So this ROM hack is for Toejame and Earl on the Genesis, and it's up over on romhackplaza.org. As for the changes here, there's a 3-time duration for items. Faster startup, skip the flying ship at the Sega logo. Earl starts with less presents. Santa is easier to sneak up on, and starting items can be randomized, and there's also now cheats. And if you wanted to see this ROM hack in action, Billy Time does have a video of it up on his YouTube page, and I do recommend checking it out. And speaking about game development, next up we're talking about something you might be interested in if you're into NES or SNES game development, or if you like playing NES or SNES homebrew games. We're talking about NESmaker, which is about to get a name change to The Game Forge. The big reason here is that NESmaker is going to be getting an update, and you'll be able to create SNES games with it. If you are curious about this one at all, check out the NESmaker Direct that just popped up on YouTube. There's a ton of great information about the project, what's to come, and also some other stuff. For example, they've introduced something that was new to me here, and that's called the Retroverse. So here is the Retroverse website. It's up, it's live, it's functioning well. It seems like a great place to find a whole bunch of homebrew stuff, in development stuff, and recently released stuff. And I mean, if I check out Panzer III here, I can play the game right in my browser if I wanted to. I can download the demo. It's for the NES, and it seems pretty interesting. Next up, we're talking about Dead Cells. If you're a fan of Dead Cells, I've got some good news for you and some bad news for you. Good news, Dead Cells just got an update. Bad news, it's the last and final update ever for Dead Cells. Update 35 is it. Now, fortunately, this is a pretty big update. I mean, they say they've got 3 new mobs, 3 new weapons, 3 new mutations, and a new biome effect for you to choose whether you are going to take the risk for more rewards or not. New legendary affixes, and 40 plus new heads for customization options. And in addition to all of that, they've added in more accessibility options. For example, adding an outline option for spikes, adding a button to center the minimap on the player, and also here, added options to fully invert the player and camera movement. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm a huge fan of Dead Cells. I think this game is a ton of fun, it's got a ton of replayability, and it's one of the best in its genre. You can disagree with me on that, and that's absolutely fine. On Steam, it's got an overwhelmingly positive review score, and it's currently 50% off. It is sad to see it's its final update here, but at the same time, this game has been going strong for about 8 years now. and I really don't see it going away from my playlist anytime soon. As for what's next, well, we've got the Rogue Prince of Persia, which is currently in early access and looking pretty good. It's got a very positive review right now on Steam. Next up, this is just a heads up and something we're probably going to find out about pretty darn soon during Gamescom, or maybe even not. Anyways, here it's rumored that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will release on Xbox and PC this holiday, and also on PS5 in 2025. Now, I know a lot of people are looking forward to this game, and a lot of people have high expectations for it. Let me know your thoughts about the upcoming Indiana Jones and the Great Circle in the comments below. And speaking about games, next up is a heads up if you're a fan of RTS games. BAR, which stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or Beyond All Reason, just released a brand new trailer. This one is 100% free and it's open source. Now, it's worth pointing out that the game is currently in alpha, but at the same time here, it's shaping up really nicely. And if you're a fan of RTS games, this is probably one worth checking out. And if you don't know if you're a fan of RTS games, this one is probably worth checking out because it's free. And speaking about free, next up we're talking about something that is definitely not free, and that's Final Fantasy XVI. We've finally got a release date for this game. It's September 17th on PC. And there is something about it that is free, and that's the demo, which is available on Steam. The Steam store page has all of the information you need about this one, and if you are curious, the demo may be worth checking out. And speaking about release dates, next up we're talking about Sky Ocean's Wings for Hire. If you're a fan of Skies of Arcadia, you may be a fan of this game here. It's releasing on October 10th of this year. I'll drop a link to the Steam store page in the description below and feel free to check it out. Next up, I've got some good news for you if you're a fan of Minecraft Realms, or if you have been trying to play Minecraft Realms over the last week or so and haven't been able to connect. On August 13th, Minecraft had an update to version 1.2.1.2, and apparently that update broke connections for a whole lot of people. Mojang has been working on these servers in the background over the last 6 or so days and has finally fixed the issue, at least we think so. Here's their latest update. Realm service should now be restored for all players. We apologize for the disruption in Realm service and appreciate your patience while we worked on a solution. Now, from my understanding, if you do have an active subscription, I think Mojang extended the time of those subscriptions while the service was out. But if it hasn't, let me know in the comments below. And speaking about outages, next up we're talking about not really an outage, it's kind of an outage. It's more of a release date outage per se. Anyways, Fantasy Life: The Girl Who Steals Time has just announced that instead of coming out on October 10th, they're delaying this one and we don't have a release date just yet. Some people have suggested that this game is not going to see a release. Some people are thinking that it might come out sometime in 2025. And some people are speculating that this game might be in development hell. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. And speaking about development, next up I would say we're talking about a development celebration of the Game Boy Advance homebrew scene. If you're a fan of the GBA, if you're a fan of homebrew, you might be a fan of this celebration over on itch.io. It's called GBA Jam 2024, and there's a lot of real cool homebrew games. This year there are 54 different submissions, and some of these you can play right in your browser. Now, I'm a big fan of the homebrew scene, so let me know your thoughts about GBA Jam 2024. Have you checked out some of these games here? What are your thoughts, and what is your favorite game? And speaking about games, next up we're talking about an upcoming game for Android and iOS from Pokemon. It's called Pokemon TCG Pocket, where TCG stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or trading card game. Anyways, this one releases in October, but at the same time, you can already pre-register. Now, from my understanding, this is going to be a free-to-play game with in-app purchases, although on their website it does say you can pre-order it. And I don't know if they're using this term interchangeably with pre-registering. I don't know, I could be wrong. Now, my gut tells me that this is going to be a pretty big game for mobile, but I could be wrong here. Let me know your thoughts about the announcement of Pokemon TCG Pocket in the comments below. And last up here, we're talking about, no surprise, PlayStation 4 emulation with Chad PS4. Now, Chad PS4 continues to make improvements in leaps and bounds. And this is Shad PS4 up and running playing Bloodborne. Things are not necessarily rendering perfect, but you wouldn't believe what happens in this one. Someone is able to beat a boss. I am not joking with you. So in terms of playable, I would say possibly not so much, but maybe in certain cases, depending on how you define playable. Now, the emulation scene always impresses me, and it's not always just the developers, but sometimes it's also the gamers, the people using the emulators who are able to get every single ounce of performance out of them. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. I don't know what's going on with Shad PS4. I don't know what's going on with some of these testers, but whatever it is, they're succeeding in leaps and bounds. I'll drop a link to this video in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. I can't believe the development state right now. Now, on a side note here, for those of you thinking that's just a one-off and possibly a fake video, there are multiple people out there with Shad PS4 videos showcasing Bloodborne progress. I mean, multiple people are fighting enemies, beating bosses, and even more. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.